let it fall. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for your patience as we figured out some Zoom technical difficulties. We're just going to give folks a few more minutes to hop on. I just want to thank everybody for attending tonight. I know that 24 hours notice isn't always ideal, but with the fast-paced nature of Hill work, I appreciate all y'all understanding and making time for this tonight. We will work to make a recording of this webinar available for folks who were not able to attend tonight, because there will be a secret word that is needed for filling out the application. Okay. We'll just give folks a couple more minutes as attendees trickle in. All right. Amelia, what do you think? Why don't we get started? And since you're first up presenting, I'll watch the waiting room.
Sounds good. Thank you all for being here. We're very happy that you're joining us, especially on such late notice, but we're excited to get this program kicked off. So I will start just by introducing myself. I'm Amelia Faraka-Hadlock. I'm one of the co-chairs for WCSA's Professional Development Committee. Allie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Alexandra, or Allie Weinroth. I'm Amelia's co-chair, and yes, just echoing her statement that we are excited to bring y'all this program this year.
Wonderful. So as Alexandra said, because the program's structured a little bit differently, we're having this presentation to tell you all what it's going to look like, what you can expect over the next 3 months, and how we're getting it started. So in today's presentation, we're going to talk about what WCSA mentoring is, how our program is structured, what is mentoring just in general, what can you expect, what should you expect to be contributing to a mentorship, as well as key dates that you need to know. We're going to have a series of events associated with our mentorship, so we'll have the dates that you should keep in mind throughout this presentation. Okay, about our mentorship program. So our program is for current Hill staff and dues-paying members of WCSA. The program is going to pair 30 mentees and mentors. So we may get applications in surplus of that, but we're going to focus primarily on those 30 pairs to make sure that the pairing is beneficial for both the mentee and the mentor. Throughout the program, we'll allow mentees an opportunity to meet and establish relationships with more senior women on the Hill and have that one-on-one career and personal advice. Really hoping that this program will lay the foundation for these relationships to provide long-lasting benefits to you so that it will extend past these 3 months. But our formal program through the 3 months starts with a detailed matching process, and that includes one-on-one personal meetings as well as a series of events. Okay. So as I mentioned, following today's event, you'll be sent a questionnaire to match our mentees and our mentors, and we'll use this to try and pair you up with someone who will best accomplish those goals, as well as somebody that you're able to best coach if you're in a mentorship role. The program will run for 3 months, during which time participants are going to engage in attending virtual events together, participating in regular check-ins, and more. Participants are really encouraged to contact each other as they feel comfortable and as they need for that individual pair. And we'll go over a little bit later how you can determine that and how you set those expectations. At the end of the program, COVID permitting, we are going to host a virtual happy hour or an in-person happy hour for appreciation for everybody throughout this program. So we're going to talk a little bit now about how we'll match the participants. So we'll send you that mentorship questionnaire, which will allow you to give personal information about yourself, as well as what you're looking for in an ideal mentee or mentor. Once all of those applications are received, we'll divide the parties into 5 broad categories to represent and match according to seniority, experience, and professional interests, as well as some of the other characteristics that you'll give us on that questionnaire. So those categories are a level 5, which is senior staff, legislative directors, chief of staff, senior communications or senior committee staff, as well as leadership staff or other off-Hill personnel. Level 4 will be press secretaries, schedulers, legislative assistants, and committee staff with 5 years of experience or more. Level 3 would be any of these aforementioned roles with less than 5 years experience. And then level 2 would be legislative correspondents or staff assistants, and level 1 would be interns. So we'll use those as kind of a broad category to make sure we're matching people up with an appropriate amount of experience so that you're able to gain enough out of the mentorship and as well as contribute enough knowledge into the mentorship. But we'll go beyond that, looking at other parts of the questionnaire to make sure that we're matching mentees and mentors that have similar amounts of interest or have things that they can connect on beyond those broad categories. Okay. In general, what is mentoring? It's a process that, if it's successful, individuals will go out of their way to help establish goals and develop skills and connections and knowledge in order for mentees and mentors to be able to achieve them. So really, we want mentoring to be a place where you can take your questions, you can help someone grow, or you can really receive personal and professional growth opportunities and experiences. What makes a good mentor or mentee? Good mentors are collaborative, they're positive, they're proactive and supportive and open and respectful. A good mentor does not have to be someone that's a senior staffer. They don't have to have been on the Hill for decades. A good mentor can be somebody who has been on the Hill for a couple of years and they're helping coach that intern into finding a role or how they can best thrive in that internship. It doesn't mean you have to have decades of experience. It means that you have to bring your whole self and your whole experience to trying to support that woman in growing and accomplishing her goals. And on the flip side of that, a good mentee is motivated, they're positive, proactive, receptive, they're patient, respectful, but that doesn't mean that good mentees have to come with everything they want to know. Good mentees need to make sure they're showing up. They need to make sure they're engaged and asking the right questions, but they need to make sure that they're really just engaged in trying to grow in this relationship and contributing to the time that their mentor is contributing to their growth. Okay, Allie, do you want to give an example of what a match would look like for a mentorship program?
Sure. So the example match that we have here, I think, Amelia, you need to click a couple more buttons. There we go. Okay, so I think with this example match, what we really tried to portray here is like, you know, we have this example of a deputy press secretary for Representative Kristen Wiig. So she's worked in Representative Wiig's office for about a year, maybe a little bit over a year, but she was promoted to her current role. So maybe she has some experience about moving up the ladder within an office. She knows how to apply for jobs on the Hill. She knows how to advocate for herself and succeed in the office. So, you know, she's going to apply to be a mentor this year. Again, like she's not a chief of staff or even the communications director, but she does have this valuable experience and tools and resources that she can share with, you know, somebody like Marie, somebody who is halfway through her internship, wants to stay on the Hill, is looking to expand her network, looking for best practices for interviewing, for networking, doesn't really know what she wants to do, press or legislative work, but, you know, maybe being matched with somebody like Jamie will help her decide, you know, maybe press isn't what she wants. However, Jamie has contacts in legislative side of the office that she can introduce Marie to and can be helpful with those practice interviews or building up her, formatting her resume, building up her skill bank, things like that. So I thought this would be a good example to show, you know, how we're going to be looking for at our participants, at the applicants when we're trying to match, because we do want the matching process to be as transparent as possible. Next slide, Amelia. Perfect. So this section will kind of go over like what to expect, flexible time commitment. We don't want this PowerPoint presentation to seem overwhelming or daunting. And we'll talk about, how this is going to be personalized to the mentor-mentee match, to the pair. And that's something that we will talk about a little bit when we get into the mentoring agreement. We'll also talk about like, what does success look like? What are we hoping that this 3-month program will share with folks? What do we hope you guys will glean from these programs and events and the relationships that you'll form along the way? So flexible time commitment, as we said at the top of the hour, Hill staffers are busier than most. That's why we're going to structure our program to allow for flexibility. We want this program to be beneficial, engaging, and most importantly, accessible. The relationship between the mentor and mentee will mostly be self-directed. And like I said, we'll get more into that and what the mentoring agreement would look like. On our part, Amelia and I, through WCSA, we will host monthly webinars or events and send resources via email to help facilitate discussions between pairs. We're not just going to be like, okay, here's your mentor, here's your mentee, good luck. We're going to try to help you drive those conversations, learn what goal setting could look like, share resources from groups that we have personally benefited from, or groups off the Hill that work on women's empowerment or how to succeed in the workplace, and have information on building up those tools and resources. So one thing to stress is our expectation of this is for folks to stay engaged. We don't want any mentees, disappearing or mentors disappearing. So we do ask that all participants attend at least 3 out of the 4 scheduled program events. And we ask that pairs meet, in quotes, because we're still in virtual times, talk on the phone, do a Zoom, do a virtual coffee, meet up for a walk outside, depending if you're both in the same area. So we're really hoping that you guys meet at least 3 times throughout the course of the program, but the length and complexity of those meetings is at the discretion of the mentor and mentee. I would also point out that event attendance does not count as one of those meetings. We want you guys to be bringing what you learn in the events into your discussions. Okay, so this mentoring agreement. This is something that I have found to be very beneficial in my own mentoring relationships. It's just kind of like an agreement that walks participants through the steps of their interactions. It helps set expectations. I know the phrase mentoring agreement can be a little intimidating, but it really is just an initial conversation about expectations between mentor-mentee matches. It's about being open and honest at the beginning of the process, so you can start building that trust and accountability, knowing what your mentee is going to follow through on, the suggestions that you give them, and really work and come prepared for the next meeting. So you don't feel like you're putting in more time and effort than your partner is, or it's to engender a sense of accountability. So the mentee isn't just like, hey, I have some questions. How can I best reach out to you? So it's just kind of setting those expectations at the beginning. We break that down by defining objectives, setting clear timelines, clarifying ground rules. And then, yes, on the next slide, we kind of give a very in-depth example of what a mentoring agreement could look like. And I think, under define objectives, that's really the big point of this is, we have that same example match, Jamie and Marie, Jamie being the mentor, Marie being the mentee. Marie's objectives are she wants to find her next job. She wants to learn more about different careers on the Hill. So she's going to come prepared to these meetings thinking about her goals, expanding her network, learning these skills, collaborating with her mentor. And they talk about maybe some of the outcomes that they are interested in achieving from this 3-month partnership. So Jamie's going to introduce Marie to her contacts on both the press and legislative side, so Marie can learn a little bit more. Jamie's going to help her by reviewing her resume and cover letter. Maybe they'll run through a practice interview over Zoom to help Marie get used to answering questions off the cuff or rephrasing some things. And they're just going to work together to set application goals, like, oh, are you going to apply for 5 this month or 2, or how are you going to be looking for these jobs? Setting clear timelines. So obviously the formal program, as we said, lasts 3 months. So in this example, Jamie and Marie have decided that their mentoring partnership will also last 3 months. New progress milestones. They kind of talk about what they're hoping to achieve in between their meetings, whether it's providing feedback. They're both agreeing to go to this mentoring event that WCSA is hosting. And Marie is saying she's going to try to apply for a couple jobs before next month's meeting so they can work on some feedback. And then for the ground rules, it's just kind of how you're going to communicate. They're decided they're going to communicate via email. Some mentor pairs will decide they want to communicate via text. It's really just up to what the pairs are comfortable with. Marie is going to email Jamie when she submits a job application, so Jamie can flag if she has a contact. They agree that they're open to emailing each other as needed, but they will commit to attending the monthly WCSA events and having a Zoom call the last week of each month to go over goals and progress. So again, that's really left up to the discretion of the pairs. You might decide that you're not open to emailing each other as needed. You really want to email just around your times of meeting. It's just what you and your partner decide is going to be right for your agreement. So Marie, as the mentee, we really encourage the mentee to reach out and schedule the call or the meeting. And we really want the mentee to come prepared with questions and an agenda to help guide the conversation. Again, the mentee doesn't have to say, oh, these are all the things I want to accomplish. That could be your item on your agenda, is I want to go through goal setting with you, but at least it gives you somewhere to start and help guide the conversation. So again, I think an important piece is the last thing under the ground rules. If either of them find themselves too busy to maintain this schedule or stick to their agreement, they've decided that they will reach out to Amelia and I for some help to make sure that this remains a productive partnership. We don't want to just, match you and be like, all right, see ya, have a good time. We want to make sure that we're being helpful as well throughout the 3-month program. I know there's a lot to take in on that slide, but this is probably more in depth than you will get into with your partner, but we just wanted to give an example about, the conversations that you should be having to set expectations, set accountability, and build trust at the beginning. All right. So what does success look like? As you can see, these successes kind of line up with the objectives and goals that were laid out in the mentoring agreement. Success doesn't always mean that the mentee found a new job. It's great if that was their goal and they succeeded over these 3 months, but as we all know, the job application world can sometimes take a long time. I think success means that, the mentee is now armed with more knowledge and resources than they had before. They benefited from learning these best practices, from talking to somebody who has had the experience, has gone through the process before, and can kind of give them a hindsight 2020 evaluation on what could be helpful in their journey. For the mentor, success doesn't always mean that the mentor checked off everything on the mentee's list of goals. No one's going to be armed with all the knowledge and all the resources in the world. I think success means that the mentor was invested in the process and helped their mentee start on a path to success by passing along these tools, best practices, connecting with other people in their network, and just trying to be helpful. All right. Here's our dates to know and our special keyword at the bottom there that you will need to enter onto into the application. So application will open today. We are going to roll out the Google form to all of y'all that participated and signed up to register for this webinar. Just a reminder that to participate, you must be a dues-paying WCSA member and currently employed on the Hill. We will make some exceptions for mentors We know that, some more senior Hill women might want to get a mentor and be a mentor. So we are open to kind of like just doing the best that we can to match people with a partner that will engender success. We're going to initially match 30 pairs in order to keep the program manageable. Pairs will be announced before the end of April, and we will be reaching out to selected participants to get the ball rolling. We would encourage mentors to reach out first, just with an email to say like, hello, I'm your mentor. Because I know it can sometimes be intimidating to reach out as the mentee. But then after that initial introduction, as we said, the hope would be the mentee take it from there, set up the initial meeting, come prepared with the agenda and ready to roll. And again, there's that keyword empowerment for the application. I think we're ready for the next slide. So the program events. This is just a brief overview of the 4 events Amelia and I are planning to hold over the course of the program. Remember, we ask that participants really attend at least 3 out of the 4. Dates and times have not been set yet. This way we can try to poll participants and see what works best. The first event is, talks about personal branding and goal setting. Personal branding is kind of like your elevator pitch, your LinkedIn bio, how you talk about your accomplishments, etc. And the goal setting piece is meant to help facilitate that discussion between mentors and mentees about what they would like to accomplish through this partnership and breaking down how to get there. What skills should they learn? How can they learn it? Should they be looking into like LinkedIn learning, maybe looking into a digital course from the library? So there's just a lot there that we can talk about with goal setting and how to work to achieve those goals. Second event, talking about best practices for a job search, how to seek out informational interviews, how to network, how to ace an interview, best practices, etc. Third event, we didn't want to just schedule the whole program without first talking to the pairs, the partners, and the participants to see, at this point, 2 months in, what do you still need? What do you think is missing from this program? How can we help kind of leave on a high note? Because that'll be the 3rd month of the program. And then, as Amelia said in the beginning, hopefully an in-person happy hour celebration in August outside. We can all hope, but if not, a virtual one. So this is a brief overview of the program events. Obviously, we will be open to feedback. We just want to make sure that we are providing resources that make you want to stay engaged with the program, and we are answering questions and providing tools needed for success. So that is our spiel. Thank you to everyone for joining. We're happy to take some questions now. Otherwise, we are happy to answer questions at that wixamentoring@gmail.com. Everyone should expect that registration link to be sent via email, and we're going to try, fingers crossed, the recording of this presentation worked, to send around a recording of this soon in case you want to reference back, but keep an eye on our newsletters. We will be sharing more information through that. Amelia, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think you missed anything. I think I saw one question come in throughout the event, which was regarding, I believe, the mentoring agreement and resources. And we will be providing resources, especially as you kick off and set those goals. So we can be sharing those at the beginning of the program.
I have a quick clarifying question. I know this is open for dues paying members. Are interns and fellows that have that type of membership considered members?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And I got an excellent question through the WCSA mentoring email today. And I just want to stress that, one of the benefits of this virtual time is we're able to kind of include district staff more. So we would love to, this program will be open to district staff as well.
Kind of piggybacking on that last question. So I'm a current member, but my internship was up in December. Is it possible to still apply and be eligible?
Yeah, just reach out to us at wixamentoring@gmail.com and we will work through that with you.
Totally. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, please feel free to email us. We're very excited to get this started off, and I thank you for joining us today. I know it was last minute. Hopefully everybody gets to get outside and enjoy the weather here in the DC area and enjoy this last week of recess while we still can.
Yes. Again, thank you to everyone for joining. And yeah, Amelia and I are really excited to bring this program to life and hit the ground running. So please ask us your questions. Otherwise, we will be in touch with the registration application link. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.